Hello everyone, welcome to this episode where we're going to discuss the Scorpio full moon happening May 18th. Now you don't need to be a Scorpio to really feel the incredible empowering impact of this full moon, and the impact will last for a month until the next full moon that happens in Sagittarius in late June. So this full moon has a lot of positive connections, and it's going to take your frequency to a new level, and it's also opening a portal into love in a big, big way because of the numerology code. So you're going to especially know in this podcast what is being activated and how it's going to work for you. And the way we're going to do that is after I give the reading, I'm going to share powerful tips on how to leverage the star codes for the Scorpio full moon so you can use this incredible, wonderful energy in your professional and personal life. So that's what we're covering today. And before I begin, I just want to share again that I have a wonderful free class that looks at your own soul code at soul level. You can watch it at starcodeclass.com. It's totally free. Just let me know where to send the details, and then you can get instant access. So just go to starcodeclass.com. Now, the Scorpio full moon story actually begins 3 days before the full moon becomes exact. On May 15th, Venus transits into Taurus. Since Venus is joining Uranus, Mercury, and the Sun in Taurus, we have a huge emphasis on that sign, the sign that's opposite Scorpio. That basically creates financial flow. It makes your life more, you have a greater attention on beauty. You feel a stronger inner self-worth, and you feel validated. You feel valued with Taurus, so emphasized. And so you're focused on amplifying all sorts of resources. Now, these can be resources to do with many different Taurian energies: pleasure, luxury, all that nourishes your senses, nourishes your soul. When we look at the emphasis on Taurus, we have to also keep in mind that we have Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn, and Taurus and Capricorn are earth signs, and that means we have 6 planetary bodies in earth signs. Okay, this is really, really powerful stuff. 3 additional planets are in water signs, so we have a big water earth emphasis, which is all about nature, nurturing, grounding, right? Earth is grounding, water is nurturing. It's all about feeling and feeling connected. And so let's go to Scorpio now, because Scorpio is the sign the moon is in, of course, for the Scorpio full moon. And Scorpio is a water sign. It's very sensitive, feels everything, very psychic. It operates on instinct. And let's just insert here that Mars, a very instinctual planet, is the former, you could even say, co-ruler of Scorpio. When Pluto was discovered in the 20th century, it became the official ruler of Scorpio, but up until that point, Mars was the ruler. So we could say they are really both co-rulers. So Scorpio really is intense. It's intensifying energy all the time. It's transformational. So it's taking one energy and moving it to a new place and transforming you. It uncovers the truth. That stinger for Scorpio goes straight to the nuts and bolts, the core unconscious seed, and uncovers it. And Scorpio observes too. It observes very well. It observes situations well. It observes people well. So this is a very kind of a private experience, this full moon, because of all these qualities that come up, and also because the connections between planets, which we'll go into shortly, are very harmonious. So you can literally relax about your self-growth a little bit more instead of feeling challenged to step up in a new way, which is how it's been, in April. It was very intense in that way. This full moon is like, okay, well, let's actually apply what we learned. Let's use this earth energy to make it real. So it's beautiful. Now, because Scorpio uncovers secrets and power struggles and control issues, because Pluto governs power and control. It does so when we're in a place where we're not acting from compassion and service. And so our intentions are not for our highest good or the highest good of the people around us. Now, because this full moon takes place on the 18th of May, which reduces to 9, at 27 degrees, Scorpio and Taurus, which also reduces to 9, we have a portal opening where we can bypass feeling like we're not of service to others for everyone's highest good, because 18 and 27 and the number 9 are so much about compassion and paying meticulous attention to our actions and our words and the impact they have on everything around us and all the people we interact with. So later we're going to go into a practice that helps you forgive and forget, which helps you restore energy. And because that's what Scorpio likes to do. Whereas Taurus, on the other hand, where the sun is, where Mercury is, where Venus is, and where Uranus is, that will enhance that self-worth, that inner self-worth that allows you to just look at things and not feel judged and not feel like, the Grim Reaper is going to get you. Anyway, this is lovely energy. Taurus enhances the self-worth. Scorpio enhances self-mastery. That's why they're opposite to each other. So they play with each other. They work with each other. They interact with each other. They synchronize. And so this happens through empowering positive choices, through integrity, through self-discipline, and through commitment. Scorpio also rules very intimate connections. So you can facilitate positive bonding experiences through many different ways. It can be through being emotionally vulnerable, which is sometimes hard for actual Scorpios to do. But emotional vulnerability fosters a lot of deep connections. And it does that through loving language and empowering language. Scorpio is so much about empowerment. So when you use loving language and put the pieces together, the empowerment through Scorpio is quite dramatic. It's quite amazing. You can also form positive bonding experience through sensuality, sexuality, making love, and also through valuing people who are important to you, attracting and experiencing a joyful soulmate relationship, for example, is part of this experience. Scorpio also governs financial partnership. It's the 8th house in astrology. So Scorpio governs all of that. And around this time of the full moon, in the month following the full moon, you have a lot of good energy going towards those subject matters. Now, the positive expression of Scorpio is that you are constantly transforming, that you are consistently healing, clearing, releasing, elevating to that self-mastery. Remember, Taurus is self-worth, right? That comes first, and then self-mastery comes when the self-worth is consistently applied. And so with that full moon at 27 degrees in Scorpio Taurus on May 18th, you have that womb of love that is supporting you, that double 9 portal energy. It's so filled with that support, with that love, right? It's beautiful. Now, as the ruler of the 8th house of astrology, Scorpio is very much about rebirth as well. So it's upgrading you vibrationally. And this full moon has the moon opposite Mercury. Mercury, the messenger, the planet of communication. And the sun is conjunct Mercury, meaning they're merged together. So there's a lot of connecting, talking, sharing, communications during this full moon in a very positive way. And there's a sense of deep empowerment in your conversations because May is 17 universal month in numerology. And 17 is about that sense of courage and leadership, stepping up into abundance, The eighth house also governs that financial flow. Remember, so abundance is very much activated. Taurus rules resources, including financial flow. So there's a big focus here on resources. And then Mercury comes in and allows you to share your resources. And it also means being reimbursed financially, right? Sharing your message and receiving something in return as a result of you being the messenger. Doing something that actually is so deeply moving that if you actually have that business where people can reimburse you, they will, because they're so taken with the energy. So this is wonderful for that. So other energy resources that you can share are time. You can give your time, right? Which is our most precious asset, of course, is time, because you can never get that back, right? You can share it in a very intimate way, right? It can be sensual. It can be just loving. Now, the moon sextiles Saturn and Pluto. That means the sun forms a trine to Saturn and Pluto. In fact, the trine with the sun happens 4 days previous to the full moon on May 14th. So that's a really powerful moment here where we have this week-long trine. And when the trine between Sun and Pluto happens during a full moon, that is very, very powerful energy. I mean, Pluto is, remember, the ruler of Scorpio. So this is really an incredible connection. It reinforces transformation and self-empowerment because Pluto is power, and then Pluto is joined with Saturn, and Saturn is structure. So we have power and structure. We have the sense of a plan being activated. So you want to look at what is your energy activating? Are you sending gratitude throughout the day? Do you take time and space, Saturn, to recalibrate your inner power? Or are past emotions controlling your thoughts and behavior, right? That's the shadow side. So look at what are you emitting? What's your energy emitting? What are your words emitting? What channel are you broadcasting from? If you think of it as a radio dial, where are you going? Find that sweet spot, that channel that's clear, supportive, empowering, grateful. Stick to that channel. Be consistent. This is earth energy here. Remember, this is a great invitation to make your habits permanent, because Saturn, remember, is also engaged in this full moon right next to Pluto. They're forming this beautiful sextile and trine. And Saturn and Pluto are the story of the year, of course, in Capricorn, because of that building energy that will come to a head, come together in early January next year. But it's being felt now, and that means, everything that is in a kind of structure or about power or control, we're now going into new structures, new empowerment, moving away from disempowerment, the patriarchy versus the matriarchy, and bringing them together for a form of tremendous peace. And, peace is a word we need to look at with Taurus and Scorpio, because the ultimate expression of that self-mastery and self-worth is an inner peace. May, too, is a month of peace. The ancient Egyptians, in their star code, said that the month of May was connected to peace. So you have the tools to figure out what is changing and why, right? Which is always good to know, because then you feel in touch with the self-mastery part of this equation, because you're mastering all the connections. You're connecting the dots. You're getting to that dial that's crystal clear on the radio dial, and you're starting to connect dots, and you're seeing, oh, yes, I can see how this impacted that and what led to this. And, this makes a lot of sense now. You're uncovering the truth, right? So you can use this dynamic energy to get to the bottom of things by also understanding your own soul code. This is really a big part of the puzzle. What does your birthday mean? What do your degree numbers in your astrology chart mean? What does your birth certificate name mean? So if you like astronumerology, where we merge these two beautiful divination arts into one, which is how they belong together, then you can go take that free class at starcodeclass.com, because it goes way deeper than we can, obviously, on this broadcast here, on this podcast, and look at your own divine blueprint, your own star code. Now, let's recap and then go into the tips, because this is very proactive energy, very positive Scorpio full moon energy, which is really exciting because Scorpio is very intense. So you want that intensity to be channeled in a positive way. It's about making changes. It's about restoring deep energy flow, making meaningful contacts, and also reactivating your inner creative energy, that energy that comes from passion and love. Remember, this is a water sign, Scorpio, so it feels deeply. It wants to express itself. And when Scorpio energy does not express itself, that's when things can get hairy, because it then lashes out and wants to control others. So the self-expression part, the creative part, is really important to understand, right? Water signs have to feel and share their feelings. So now the question becomes, how can we consciously navigate this energy of change? That's in this case very private, right? It's lovely energy, but you want to be able to use it in a way. How can you step into the unknown with confidence and jump into your future with a positive sense of self-worth and with self-mastery? How can you set yourself free with Uranus conjunct, Venus, which we'll go into in a moment? How can we embrace radical new experiences, that radical awakening, and experiment with different ways of living? New ways of living, new ways of acting, new ways of talking, new language. Well, what you want to look out for is, by the time the full moon takes place on May 18th, Venus in Taurus will be exactly conjunct Uranus at the time of this full moon. Now remember, Venus rules Taurus, the sun is in Taurus. So this is very important because, first of all, Uranus and Venus will also form a double sextile with Mars. So we're tying all the little pieces together here, connecting the dots. Remember, Mars is the initial ruler and co-ruler of Scorpio. So again, another beautiful harmonious aspect, the sextile, 60 degrees. Uranus and Venus in Taurus are forming a sextile to Mars in Cancer. And so this is wonderfully creative, brilliant energy. Ideas are just so out of the box, exciting, galactic. Your inner genius is energized. It's on fire now. This is helping you loosen up stagnant energy, which is exactly what's necessary to flush out and heal. That scorpionic healing, letting go energy, that water energy, giving birth energy, right? Starting something new. So these shifts and surprises now are loosening up that stagnant energy. And it's doing so especially when you are consciously making a choice to embrace change. So you automatically have trained yourself to set the dial to create magic by consistently releasing the past. So let me say that again. You have set the dial of clarity to create magic in your life by consistently releasing the past. Consistently, all the time. This is what Scorpio, Pluto are teaching us. So let's look at some takeaways here on how to put these big themes into practice. For example, you can say things like, I want to release old baggage from my relationship, my childhood, my previous career, whatever it is, you fill in the blanks. I want to release old baggage from. I want to confidently embrace change in the area of. You choose that area. I want a positive transformation to shift me to the core in the area of. That's a big one, right? So you're being open, you're being vulnerable. I want to easily forgive in a way that is empowering for me. I want to gain control of my life by putting an end to blaming others for my circumstances. Now that is the intention of the whole century here, that wanting to gain control of your life and not relying on the outside for solving anything really. I mean, you can go search for questions, for answers to your questions, of course, but you need to always stay in that place of self-empowerment, right? Of self-worth. So gaining control of your life by putting an end on blaming others for your circumstances is a huge deal, right? For humans in nature. This is the wake-up call that we're going through right now. And so it must really be emphasized over and over again. And finally, a fabulous way to acknowledge the Scorpio shift is that I want to welcome the intensity of others without taking it personally. Now, the shadow side of Scorpio has the stinger, and the stinger comes out when a Scorpio energy or native feels like they're being attacked, right? So now other people will get intense. It's not just Scorpios who are intense. Everybody feels passionate about certain things, or they're passionately engaging in a conversation with you about something that happened, whatever it may be, whether it is an actual identification with a culture or political system or religion, whatever the case may be, there's intensity everywhere, right? So the big takeaway here is to welcome the intensity of others, because obviously you want them to be passionate. They're taking their own path towards love. We're all heading the same direction in different ways. So you want to welcome that without taking it personally. So this is really the message of this very exciting and very positive full moon in Scorpio. And I just am very excited about how the month of May has really taken the energetics to a point of you really feel in touch with the rising of your vibration. You feel like you're lifting up now. You're lightening up. You're letting go, lifting as a result, just like, a balloon lifting off, right? It is lightening up the load and takes up into the heavens. And this is what this full moon, with all these harmonious connections to all these planets, is creating in our life. So I really thank you for joining me. Don't forget to go discover your own soul code at starcodeclass.com. Find your hidden source of power now with this full moon. That's what Scorpio wants you to do. You have everything it takes. It's all internal. You have all the resources. Remember, Taurus is about the resources. So discover your resources and take that determination and find that internal power source, that sacred energy that is divinely yours, and find that within you and make it manifest, make it real. Take this earth energy and activate something and create something and manifest what you truly desire, what really tickles you pink and makes you feel just so grateful for being here, because you have put value to what you value most, right? That's the interchange, Taurus and Scorpio. So enjoy the full moon, and I'll see you in next week's podcast. I thank you for being here, and I send you lots and lots of love.